Books presents Deadman's Castle by Iain Lawrence, narrated by Christopher Gebauer. The Policeman. The policeman looked like a grizzly bear. He had little black eyes and a nose like a snout, and shoulders as wide as the doorway. He had to squeeze sideways into the kitchen, carrying a long gun that he placed carefully on the table. Then he sat down beside it, took off his hat, and didn't move until morning. He came again the next day, and every day through all of November, always arriving just before dark. Nobody told me why he was there. But as a boy only 5 years old, a kid in kindergarten, I was thrilled to have a policeman in the house. I stared at his badge and his gun, hoping he would invite me to touch them. But he spoke to me only once, in a bear-like growl as I went up to bed. "Sleep tight, kid," he told me. "Don't let the bedbugs bite." We moved away at the end of the month. I didn't know why. We went in such a hurry that I couldn't say goodbye to my friends. So suddenly that we left nearly everything behind, including, I imagined, the policeman. Months later, I still pictured him sitting all alone through the night in our kitchen. We drove for many days, over mountains and prairies, to a little greenhouse that smelled of cats. On our first night there, my father sat me down and said, "We need to have a talk." I thought I was in trouble. On a creaky old sofa that was fuzzy with cat hair, I cuddled up beside Mom. "We think it's time you learned a few things," said Dad. He stood in front of us, looking down. "A few months ago, I saw someone do a terrible thing. So I went to the police and—" "What did you see?" I asked. "Shh," said Mom. She put her arm around me. Dad started again. "I went to the police and told them what I saw. And now there's a very bad man coming after us." "Why?" "He wants to get even." Mom pulled me closer, like she was trying to protect me. The springs in the sofa made squealing sounds. Dad kept talking. "He'll try to find out where we live. And if he does—" Dad never finished that sentence. He saw that I was nearly in tears and started over, maybe hoping not to scare me. "From now on," he said, "I want you to keep your eyes peeled. Watch for a man with a lizard tattooed on his skin." "What do I do if I see him?" I asked. "Run away," said Dad. "Scream for help. Do whatever it takes, but never let him catch you." We changed our names and started over as a new family. Then, just as I was getting used to that, we moved again, and then again, and again. Wherever we went, that bad man was close behind us, and year after year we ran like rabbits in a field, dashing here and there, always in a panic. He chased us from Oregon to Florida, from Iowa to Idaho. I imagined him in 1,000 ways, now with the lizard clinging to his shoulder, a green tail coiled around his neck. Now with a painted Godzilla standing in flames on his chest. Sometimes his whole body was one giant tattoo, with green scales all over him. And sometimes he was more a monster than a man, a slithering thing with claws instead of fingers. I called him the Lizard Man, and for 6 years I lived in fear of him. Every night I dreaded going to sleep, because he even chased me in my dreams. Bugging out. On my 12th birthday, when I leaned forward to blow out the candles on my cake, I actually wished for the Lizard Man to find us. I wanted it all to end, one way or the other. The flames bent and stretched like they didn't want to go out. But they did. And my little sister laughed and
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.